Hey, guys. Waiting for my friend Michelle to join in, and we are officially going to start the show. Hey. What's up? All right.
Hello.
Yeah, let's get this party started. All right. So, talking of Mandela Effect.
Yeah, exciting stuff. I'm just waiting for my peeps. Hey Jan, waiting for my peeps. Hi Laura. Hi
So,
Rhonda. Hi
so,
Dana.
so
I
you,
like
ba-
saying hi to everybody.
so you basically sharing on your page, and then
I see some of my people coming in. Yep.
okay,
Um,
okay.
yeah, I see them rolling in now, so that's good.
All right. Word.
So, hi Rhonda. I'm happy to see you guys. Um, So Phil and I, yeah, hi Sylvia. We started talking about the Mandela effect and we just were kind of blown away by
Yeah, my mind has been scrambled a little bit about this. I mean, when I first heard about it, this was like a few weeks ago, and I was watching the show A Series of Unfortunate Events with Neil Patrick Harris, right? Everybody loves Neil Patrick Harris. I loved Neil Patrick Harris because I swore to you, I thought he was in the show Malcolm in the Middle. I even remember clearly recalling hearing his or seeing his name go through the credits of the show. Hearing "You're not the boss of me now, you're not the boss of me now, and you're not the," and then Neil Patrick Harris's name coming across the screen and seeing Neil Patrick Harris, but it wasn't Neil Patrick Harris. It was Christopher Masterson, who is Danny Masterson's brother, and that's kind of
right.
because I mean I've loved everything that Neil Patrick Harris has been in, even since that show, because the fact that he was on Malcolm in the Middle.
Yes. And that's not that's not one of the Mandela effects that got me. One of the ones that, well, first I guess let's talk about how the name came about.
Yeah.
So,
First of all, we
uh
even
I,
need to go back and talk about who we are, what we do, and all that good stuff.
yeah. Well, well, I'm Michelle.
Yeah.
I am I'm yeah, okay. So I'm Michelle. I'm a hospice social worker. But I've been a paranormal investigator for about off and on 20. I'm going on 22 years now. And hey Leah. Hi Laura. I know it blows me away too, Laura.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm with a group here locally in Dallas. I'm in Dallas. I'm from Philadelphia originally, but I live here in Dallas. And I'm with Mystic Ghost, and we've been all over the place. And that's me, Phil.
Well, I'm just a regular paranormal investigator, just interested in what's going on. Uh, I started out when I was younger. My story starts back when I was about 13 years old, and I did my first paranormal investigation with the Home Alone Walkman that Macaulay Culkin had in Home Alone, and I got my first EVP out of that tape recorder, and the rest is history. So uh, now what I'm into is kind of theoretical paranormal investigations. I don't really go out to investigate anymore. I just think up theories and I just do the math, and if it works out, great. If it doesn't, oh well.
That's fun too.
That's that.
And Phil and I have known each other for, I don't know, how long have we known each other for?
Do you remember when the term paranormal community was coined?
It's maybe after Ghost Hunter started, maybe. I
No,
don't know.
the term paranormal community was coined back in 2010, or
Okay, so that's
paranormal unity. paranormal unity. My bad, not community. Wow,
Mhm.
paranormal unity. The term paranormal unity. Do you remember when that was coined?
Mm-mm.
Okay, that was coined back in 2010.
Mhm.
So if you weren't around for that was about a decade ago. That was about a decade ago.
Mhm.
So we've probably been friends for like 7 years now, 8 years now.
Yeah, it's about 7 or 8 years we've known each other. But hi Lashira, hi Casey, my next door neighbor's watching over there. Hey Casey. Um, but anyway, back to the Mandela effect. The Mandela effect was coined by Fiona Broome, who's also a paranormal investigator, and it happened when so most of us know Mandela died in 2013.
Right.
But a lot of people thought he died in the 80s, which I'm not one of those people. I didn't think he died in the 80s. But people, it's not just like one of those things where people were like, "Oh, that's weird. I thought he like when he actually died, they weren't like, "Oh, that's weird. I thought he died back in the 80s." It was like people were like, "Oh my God." Like I literally remember him. I remember his widow giving this speech. I remember these protests about apartheid and hey Kendi, I mean they have these vivid memories about this man actually dying in the 80s and it wasn't just a little thing. And Phil and I have had discussions about this. Another one was if you guys remember 1989, I don't know if you're too young to remember, but I remember the Tiananmen Square in China. I don't know if you guys remember this, the man standing with the grocery bags in protest in front of the tanks. I specifically just remember a man standing there in front of the tanks, just standing there.
See
Phil
that's
does not remember it that
I don't
way.
remember that. See, I don't remember that. I remember, and I wasn't old enough to see it happen, but we did have documentaries in school about China's communistic society, and that was a big deal back then when it happened. Even through the 90s, it was a big deal. Um, I specifically remember seeing the blood on the streets.
Yeah,
Uh,
people remember seeing getting run over, and I don't
yeah,
remember that. Like
I remember.
that's
I remember. I specifically remember him getting run over, and that kind of just scrambles my mind thinking about it.
do you
Like,
guys
what are we
remember that?
going to school?
Does anybody watching, what do you guys remember? Or do you remember the Tiananmen Square incident at all? Um, Another big one is, okay, so this one, Phil, I meant to tell you this. So I looked into this. Okay, so this really blew my mind at first. Okay, Easter Island, you know, the heads,
Yeah.
Easter Island
Oh man.
heads.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you don't remember anything about Tiananmen Square, Lashira? You get a D for history. Um, so the Easter Island, you guys know those big heads, the Mayoya, I don't know how you say it, Moyaya heads. So
I think they're called just.
when you do some research, what?
I think they're called just Moya.
Moya? I don't know. I don't. Oh, wait. Rhonda says, I remember a woman putting a flower in the tank. Okay. Casey doesn't remember. Casey, you're also getting a D in history. Dana, I barely remember yesterday. You guys are smart. Well, thanks, Dana. Okay, but you guys know the Easter Island heads, right? You know what we're talking about. They're like, it's kind of like the pyramids. They're like thousands of tons. Nobody knows how these things were made. They're like these. Casey, history was not my thing. I love history. I know English is your thing. English is Casey's thing. But okay, so these Easter Island heads, you look them up. I swear to God, I haven't been there, obviously, because I haven't been to Chile, or off the island of Chile, or off the coast of Chile. But these heads, I mean, everybody's seen them. Well, apparently these things have hats. Who the hell?
The hats look
What
weird
the
as hell
hell?
too. The hats look weird as hell. Like
The
like
hats are they're not nor I mean they're not. I don't know what you would think these statues. What the hell would you think these statues' hats would look like? Fedoras? No, I don't know.
no,
What?
not doors.
Hey
They
Jimmy,
have like pots on their heads. Like
I gotta ask Jimmy. Jimmy, are you there? Do you did you know
hey Devin.
that Easter Island that the Easter Island um hey, the Easter Island statues have hats? Did you know this? Well, anyway, so I did some research. Okay, when I think of Easter Island statues, I think there's like, hi Devin, I think, I don't know, maybe there's like 12, 15. There's 887. So that would maybe explain why we didn't know some of them had hats because there's almost 1,000 of them. That
And
would be an
we
explanation.
also did not know that they had bodies too buried underneath too, which
True,
is not
true.
a Mandela effect. It's not a Mandela effect, but that's an interesting
No,
side that they do have bodies buried under those heads.
right,
I thought that was
right.
interesting because I remember there was
Hey,
Simpsons episode.
yeah, go ahead, Phil.
Yeah, yeah,
Hey,
I
Zelda.
remember.
I'm saying hi to people. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, okay. I remember a Simpsons episode where they talked like way before they found out there were bodies buried under there, and
Hmm.
that was a joke, and it ended up being a real thing that they discovered. So,
Well, The Simpsons could be a whole other, we could do a whole other little Facebook Live thing about The Simpsons and
but they're connected.
I don't know, they're
They're connected
what?
to this too. They're not. They are not. They are definitely connected to this too, because we're talking about the Mandela effect. There's this thing called Mandela residual, where
Hmm.
people's timelines are they go back to the way that we remember them. Like
Hmm.
there's still residual things. Say for example, The Simpsons. If you watch The Simpsons, here's a good Mandela effect. Um, Darth Vader never said anything about Luke, I am your father. Spoiler alert. Sorry, guys, if you haven't seen A New Hope. But anyway, he did not say, Luke, I am not, or I am not your father. He said, no, I am not your father.
No, he said, Luke,
No, I am your
he said,
father.
I
My
am
bad.
your
My
father.
bad. What did I say? I'm getting worried.
Ah,
I'm creating new Mandela effect. I'm creating, I'm
hi,
creating.
Nance. Yeah, you're creating a new, everybody's going to be like, oh my God, he wasn't his father all along.
Or mostly it feels pretty shitty because he doesn't know Star Wars.
Right. No, I think the biggest one for me because, hey Nance, okay, so Silence of the Lambs is one of my favorite movies. I think I saw it, I don't know,
Yeah,
20 times. I was 17 years old when it came out and I saw it like so many times, which should give you a pretty good
do it
idea of the kind of person I am. Um,
with Gatorade.
Everybody knows that Hannibal Lecter says, "Hello, Clarice." I mean,
No, I'm gonna see if I can't do it. See,
I
see
think
that.
he says that after fava beans and a nice Chianti. But he says, "Hello, Clarice." Hi, Trudy. Am I right? What?
He
Lashira,
does.
you have
He
never
does. I remember
seen it?
that. I quoted that. I quoted that my whole life doing that.
Hello, Clarice. Lashira, you gotta
You
get.
want to know that
Who's
song?
never seen it?
I
Hmm?
also that was like one of my ways of like turning women on for a little bit.
By imitating Hannibal
Yeah.
Lecter? You must not be
That
getting
was my
laid, Phil,
thing.
'cause-
Hello, Clarice. And turns out he never said that at all in the movie, and that's like
but I just
great.
need to talk about the. Wait, wait. I need to talk about that you're imitating Hannibal Lecter to get women.
Hey,
Okay,
hey,
we're way off
hey,
track here.
hey, hey,
Okay,
that's a different topic. Women are
all
freaks,
right
man.
then.
Women are freaks.
All right, back to Mandela effect. What? Okay, okay, the theories. So there's a lot of theories. I have mine. Phil has his. So, Phil, why don't you go? Tell me what you think.
Well, here's what I think. Okay, all right. I'll tell you what everybody in the Mandela Effect community thinks. They think that CERN is messing with our timelines, doing their experiments that they're doing with these subatomic particles. Because what they're doing is they're essentially creating these space-time rifts in the universe where these multiple realities are stacking up on each other, and they're kind of intermingling with each other. And some people are their memories are getting affected by this I guess this time fluctuation.
Can
Um,
I just really quick, Phil? Let me just explain for anybody who's watching. Hey, Doris.
hey,
So anybody
hey, Megan.
Anybody who doesn't know what CERN is, so CERN, it's a hadron collider, a large hadron collider. Hey, Sandrina, that's my cousin that was helping me out over there with our
Right.
technical issues. And by the way, FYI, who anybody's watching, Sandrina, who's my cousin who just logged on here, so the Bernstein conspiracy that we all know about with the Mandela effect, my cousin actually met Mr. and Mrs. Bernstein, and they did sign the book Bernstein. So there's that, whatever, however you want to look at that. But anyway, hey Lisa, you're late. Anyway, so the CERN is it's a hadron super collider located in Geneva, and what they do is they take these particles at
Subatomic
almost the speed of light.
and
Huh?
they crash them into the speed of light
Yeah,
in the hopes that smaller particles will form off of those particles. Or
right. And
particles.
they kind of recreate. They're trying to recreate basically the Big Bang.
Yeah.
And bye, Lashira. Thanks for coming. And what they do then, they have like an accelerator that does that, and then they have what's called a D something. I don't know. And it's a machine that kind of analyzes that. So interestingly, this is just an interesting theory. I don't know. Take what you will. The first time they oh, my friend Rhonda said they were going to build it near Waxahachie, Texas. Well, I'm glad it's in Geneva, Switzerland. Um,
That was actually
interestingly,
yeah, that was another site. That was an interesting that was an interesting debate actually of why they
yeah,
built that one.
right, Lisa, it is called the Large Hadron. I think it's called
Had-
a
Large Hadron.
Hadron Collider. So
Yeah.
anyway,
LHC
basically,
for short.
what?
LHC.
LHC.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, what was interesting to me about it, and like I said, take whatever you want from this. They first launched it, well, it was built in 1954, I think, but they first launched it, like beamed it in 2008. The first time somebody actually kind of, Fiona Beam Broom first kind of came up with the Mandela Effect was 2010. So it kind of does make you think a little bit, could something have happened in
Yeah.
those 2 years? Because, you know, if you're
You
messing
never
around with,
you never heard about the Mandela effect until just recently. Until it just started
yeah, it
with
was 2010. Yeah. So, so like Phil said, that's one theory. Um, there is, there's a psychological aspect. Hold on, Jimmy says they were building Super Collider in Ellis County before it was nixed. There's several companies using the facilities that were finished. Yeah.
yo,
So, just
that facility is
living,
I bet you that
huh?
I bet you that facility is the unfinished facility is still there and they're like using it for something else.
Yeah, that's what he said. They're using several companies. There are several companies using the facilities that were finished, so they're using them for something else. Who knows what.
Yeah, who
But I
knows
think
what they're doing down there?
it's
That's what I'm saying.
yeah, it's really interesting to think that you know what that's what they say they're doing. But if you start messing with that kind of stuff, black holes, because that's what they're doing. I mean, really, if you go to their website, and they talk
Mission
about how
statement.
great it is,
Their
and
mission-
huh?
It's in their mission statement on the website.
That's what I was going to say. If you go to their website and look around, I mean, it's chemical companies. That's what they're using now, those old
Yeah,
buildings for.
company.
Um, yeah, exactly. Yeah. And Lisa, my friend Lisa says CERN has all their experiments on their website with all the data. But it's interesting because they flat out tell you we're working with black holes, and quantum physics does support parallel universe. It
It
does.
sure do. There's
And
even Stephen Hawking before he died, he had a speech for a paper that was just published right before he died about parallel universes and how we will fall.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I
Mm-hmm. Um, so I just kind of want to throw out, there's a little bit of a background, as you know. My degree is in psych and well, social work, but most of the classes are psychology. And so there is something called confabulation, which is oh, Jimmy said some of the are underground facilities that are operational. Hmm?
hmm.
Jimmy, some of the underground facilities are operational. Some are underground facilities that are operational. So Jimmy, do you mean the ones in Texas or the ones, you mean the buildings that were going to be CERN that aren't being used? That's crazy.
Yeah, you know that
Um,
them for something shady. I know
oh
they're
yeah,
something shady.
there's so much
That's
shady
totally
shit going on. Tell you
that's
what.
a different topic, show topic.
Yeah, definitely. But um, confabulation is a psychological term that some people like to use to explain the Mandela effect. And what it is, it's basically when people they absolutely remember something and they believe that it's true when it really isn't. But I don't know how you would explain masses of people remembering something. And this is not a real familiar phenomenon, by the way. And it's typically when somebody has dementia or traumatic brain injury, it's not real. So, you know.
This is how I explain it. My background, I come from the military. I was in the Air Force for nearly
Mm,
9 years. And
mm-hmm,
so attention to detail, attention to detail, attention to detail is pushed so much in the military. But
mm-hmm.
the thing about it is I think people are just really, really not good at attention to detail. That's like humanity's biggest flaw. And
Right.
and this Mandela effect is just proof that that's one of our biggest flaws. I mean,
Yeah.
that goes to show number one that we're not high up in the evolutionary chain as we think we
Mm,
are.
as we think we are. Really quick, I'll just say, so Lisa said MK Ultra, their shit is now listed on the CIA website. Uh-huh. And then Jimmy said in Texas, he runs a chemical company and have some dealings with them. What, CERN, Jimmy? How have I known you that long and I didn't know that?
Hey, no,
Okay. Um, if I could, I would really like to give you my husband's theory on the Mandela effect. I love my husband so much. No, not, oh, you mean the companies, Jimmy, you're talking about the companies that use the facilities that CERN didn't use. Okay, I think. So here's Shane, my husband. I would like to give you his magnificent and wonderful. This is his quote. Okay, his quote is, I'm going to read it. Time
this,
travel. This is his. Could people have gone back in time to change things just to mess with us? Like, quote, hey, let's change the name of Mr. and Mrs. Bernstein to Bernstein and watch everybody lose their mind. Quote, when I was a kid, it was called Whataburger, and now it's called, no, when I was a kid, it was called Waterburger, and now it's called Whataburger. What the hell is going on? That is a direct quote from his husband and his Mandela effect
yeah, no,
theory.
right though. He's right. There's I know for a fact that there's time travel experiments going on right now.
Well, we've talked about that. Yes, we've had discussions about that. And
Yeah, there is time travel experiments going on right now. And I swear to you, these people are creating butterfly effects and little tiny details are changing into our realities, which in turn is causing our Mandela effects that we're experiencing in our reality.
yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, I feel like anything's possible. And for people, I've had people when I've discussed this with them who will just say, that's stupid, you're an idiot, or that's dumb. And I just, anybody who's that close-minded, I think it's
I don't
terrible.
think that those people are really that close minded because I honestly think that those people believe it more than any of us and they just don't want to express their enthusiasm for the topic because it's
Yeah,
cringe.
yeah, maybe. I don't know. I know a couple people who are so intellectual that they just can't. Hey, Mandy, my other cousin Mandy's watching, but Lisa said they're scared. I think there are some people that are scared, but I really do feel like there are people that they're just so intellectual they just can't. They just can't let go of that. I don't know what I'm trying to say. That I think they're afraid to let go. You're right. I think
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you know, maybe on some level they believe, but on another level, I think they're just way too scared to just let go. Jimmy wrote he just read an article on scientists proving time travel is mathematically possible. I saw it this morning and easily Googled. Jimmy, you know, I believe, and it's so weird that you should say that because Phil and I just had a discussion about mathematics, and I am, believe me, I'm not the one you want to talk to about math. I specifically chose social work because it required the least amount of college math.
MCAT's
Um,
really good at math.
not good at math.
Uh,
No, I am not good at math. But Phil and I discussed about how math is the universal language. I mean, right, Phil? And we had
yeah,
that discussion.
what I basically did,
Hey,
basically
Amanda.
it all boils down to all math is nothing but humanity's logic and reasoning, uh, just finding patterns in places.
Right.
That's all math is, and just putting those patterns into bigger pieces and fitting all those
Them together.
pieces together in that big puzzle in what we call algebra.
It's the universal language that I don't understand, but I can barely add two numbers together, but that's okay. As long as other people can get it, then I'm good. But um, do you guys, Jimmy, Mandy, Lisa, Amanda, I don't know if I can see the
Amanda's
people
my
that,
cousin. Amanda's my cousin.
yeah, I saw she said we got a lot of cousins watching. Thank God
Yeah,
for cousins, is what I have
yeah,
to say. My sister
yeah.
isn't
Thank God,
watching, and my sister said
especially Amanda.
she was. Well, I have a Mandy cousin and you have an Amanda cousin watching. So thank God for Amanda's. Amanda cousins are the best.
Yeah, Amanda's
Um,
my favorite cousin growing up, actually.
hmm, that's nice. Do you guys have any Mandela effects that we haven't mentioned? I mean, there's a ton of them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
What about the one I hadn't heard of that you had mentioned to me, Mandy, we sure are. Um, was the Henry VIII turkey leg? Hadn't
Oh
heard that
yeah,
one before.
yeah. The Henry VIII turkey leg. The original. I'm actually related to Henry VIII. Actually, he's one of my like distant relatives.
Millionth. Hey, Amanda Summers, did you know you were related
Yeah,
to Henry
yeah.
VIII?
Amanda's related to Henry VIII too. So
Mandy, are we
hey,
related to anybody?
I didn't miss anything.
Because she knew. I don't think I'm related to anybody special, but
But anyway,
that's
he his portrait, we remember him with the turkey leg because everybody
mhm,
remembers those portraits making fun of uh, Henry VIII with the turkey leg. And actually,
mhm,
that was an actual portrait that they painted with him
mhm.
because it represented fertility, and he was just an all around
You could afford to
baller.
eat.
He was a baller. The turkey legs, they represent balling. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
pimp. He was a pimp back in the day.
Hell
So,
yeah.
so
Well, I mean, he did have a shit ton of wives killed.
yeah,
So, I mean, you could basically do. Oh, Lisa remembers it. She says she remembers him with a turkey leg.
well, we were talking about The Simpsons. We were talking about The Simpsons um, about being the Simpsons are actually. What I'm trying to say is the Simpsons are actually exempt from the Mandela effect. So you will
Can you
see.
explain that?
Okay, so Mandela residual is uh, you see effects of these memories and timelines that have changed after. Does that make sense? And
No, explain that again. And Janelle says, hi, Phil.
hey, Janelle. And
Hey, Megan.
awesome girl.
Okay, go ahead.
Hey, Sarah. Wow. But anyway, Mandela residual is basically okay. You have one timeline. That's
Mm-hmm.
what the Mandela effect is. And then you have another timeline. That's where the time kind of changes to mess with our memories. But
Okay.
we're still in this timeline. I'm using my hand gestures to try to explain this. I hope it's making sense with my hand gestures. This
Turkey legs.
timeline here, over here,
Yeah.
is where the Mandela residual would be, and it kind of forks with this timeline. So The Simpsons, okay, they're still on this timeline, and we're using this timeline to explain Mandela residual. And the fact that the Simpsons are exempt from the Mandela effect because there's scenes in The Simpsons where the actual Mandela effect that people remember are there in the actual episodes. So, say for example, there's a lot of them. There's a lot of them. The Luke, I am your father one is in there, with Jim Earl Jones saying Luke, I am your father. He's in there. Henry VIII. There was a skit that were put on, and he dressed up Henry VIII for Halloween on an episode, and he had a turkey leg in his hand. So, and he was.
Okay, I have a question.
Go ahead.
I have a question about that. Could The Simpsons be causing the Mandela effect?
That's a good question. That's a really good question because the Simpsons, they, they, they have some like. We could go on another show topic about this, about the Simpsons and their effect on
It's
society.
all Homer's fault. It's
I
Homer's
know.
fault.
I, I'd say it's all Bart's fault.
Maybe. It's Matt Groening's fault. Yeah, Lisa at South Park. But now see, okay, so The Simpsons started in what, 89, 88,
I
something
I don't know. I think they started.
ish?
Yeah, I think they started in '89. Actually, yeah.
Yeah, 89 or 90 maybe. And I mean, they predicted a lot of stuff. That's a whole other bag of worms right there. They're all their predictions, 9/11, Trump, all that. Hi, Uncle Tom.
I mean, they predicted 9/11.
89. Yeah. Yeah. And Trump and all this weird
Yeah, they
stuff,
predicted
So,
things about Trump in a specific
yeah,
setting.
him coming down the elevator
Yeah,
and
specific.
so right. So because The Simpsons is such a phenomenon and such a sociologically, so many people watch it.
The
Oh,
writer
my
of The
Jimmy
Simpsons.
said,
Go
do
ahead.
what? Sorry.
The writer of The Simpsons have to be part of the elite. I'm going all Alex Jones right now.
You are totally info warring right now. Like that's total info warring. Okay, so say, just throwing this out here, because it's such a social icon and so many people watch it, say, yeah, Jimmy, The Simpsons did nail a lot of stuff, but say they had something with Henry VIII with a turkey in his hand. And then after that, it just got into their subconscious.
Yeah, like they caused it. Yeah, simple as that.
Maybe, but they didn't have Tiananmen Square. They didn't do anything about Tiananmen Square.
No,
They didn't do anything about the Bernstein
that's
Bears. They didn't.
they did do
So it
that.
doesn't explain that.
They did do the Easter Island, um, the hats on the Easter Island.
They did. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
they did that. Okay,
Yeah.
I
So
think they
maybe
can
we could
use the
attribute to
Hello
some.
Kitty thing. They're in the Sideshow Bob episode. He says,
Yeah.
"Hello, Bart," just like Anthony
Oh,
Hopkins.
hello, Grease.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Hmm.
Sideshow Bob was such an underrated character. He was a really good character.
Sideshow Bob.
Yeah, Sideshow Bob.
I haven't watched a whole lot of Simpsons, but he's okay. He's not my favorite, but I don't like clowns, but he's all
He's
right,
very
I guess.
misunderstood. He's misunderstood. He's
He's
got,
just misunderstood.
yeah.
So, I have a question for everybody watching,
Okay.
listening, watching. Well, first, Lisa wants to know, have we ever listened to the REM's It's the End of the World as We Know It? Yes, Lisa, I have.
And
Love
everybody,
REM.
that, that's another one that everybody thought that that song was on Malcolm in the Middle, too. Like, that was,
Oh,
yeah. That's another one. Everybody thought the
no,
song,
they might be giants.
yeah, they thought that that was Malcolm in the Middle's theme music.
They might be giants. It kind of has the same,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah. Na, 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 na.
yeah, like jive to it.
You're not a boss.
Um,
We're seeing the world as we know it. Yeah, yeah, it does sound
I
similar.
feel fine. It's a fast song, and I even read somewhere that Michael Stipe had to like had to have a teleprompter or something to sing the words of that song. Lisa said the lyrics of the song, listen to the lyrics. I will listen to them again tonight, Lisa.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Oh, I got one. I got one. How about Queen?
okay.
Queen.
Oh,
This
that's a good
now
one.
this
Speaking
was
of songs.
now actually I was actually talking with my mom about this the other day, and I asked her, so what do you remember the Queen lyrics? She sang the whole song. She sang the whole song because you can't just sing one lyric of the Queen. We are champions. You got
No, you got to go through the
"Nail
whole
my
thing.
done,
Yeah.
nail my do." I mean,
Mhm.
so catchy as hell. But
Right.
anyway, but anyway, she got to the end and sang "Of the World."
hmm Now, do you guys remember that? We are the champions at the end of the world. Okay, so apparently that didn't happen. That never happened.
Yeah, that never happened.
Uh,
That never
there's
happened.
another cousin of mine. Just want to put that out there. Another cousin of mine is watching. Thank you, Kyle. This is a thumbs up to all cousins around the world. Cousins are awesome. So anyway, back to the show. Yes. Yeah. So apparently that never happened. Lisa said she had the album it was on. Can I just really preface really quick that album gave me nightmares. It's the robot with the all the members falling off it with blood, and it scared me and it gave me nightmares. My aunt had it, so there. But yeah,
I'm trying
so
to
that
what
never
you.
happened. It
I
didn't.
kind of lost you, like what you're talking about.
The album
What?
that song was on, it
Okay.
had a robot,
Okay. Yeah.
and
Okay.
he was holding all the members, and they were falling out of his hand, and there was blood
Yeah.
dripping off, and my aunt had it, and I had a dream. I used to dream every night that the robot was coming up the stairs to get me, and he didn't. I'm alive. I'm here to talk about it to this day. But yeah, so it never happened. And I have another question. Is We Will Rock You always followed by We Are the Champions? Anyone?
Yeah. It always is. I think. Yeah.
Always? Has there ever been an exception to that rule?
Uh,
People get on it. Get on
uh,
Google and find out.
I think before like hockey games, I think that they
Mhm.
don't play it after like after the do. They don't play it after. That's where they end it during like games.
Okay. So
And like,
only at hockey games, not on radio.
yeah,
Okay.
not on radio or anything.
Right, Jimmy. Yes, I remember News of the World. That was the name of the album, News of the World. Yeah, well, that album. I mean, I love it now, of course, but then as like a little whatever 6-year-old, it was really scary. But anyway, so yeah, that's that's weird because I always sang of the world. But if you think about it, and it's always followed by "We Will Rock You," it doesn't make sense.
Okay,
And I don't know,
I got one for you.
right?
I got one for you.
Yeah, got it.
Mona Lisa. What do you remember her doing? Like,
Okay, so
remember her
I know
face?
we've talked about this. I always remember her smirking. That's not one of
I
mine.
remember her smirking too. I remember her
Yeah.
smirking too, and I've seen
Mm,
so many paintings of because I went to art school or I was going through this art phase in high school, and I took all these art classes in high school,
mhm,
and that was one of the big debates back then. Was she smirking or was she smiling? And
mhm,
I always remember her smirking. And
mhm.
the thing about it is the topic of her smirking or smiling dropped off for the next decade or so. Nobody talked about it.
Hmm.
Like people just weren't interested in it.
Right. What do you guys remember? Do you guys, the Mona Lisa, do you remember her not smiling, not smirking, smirking, smiling, frowning, sticking her tongue out? Who knows? What universe were you in? I mean, could be anything.
But
I remember just,
now she's smiling like
I, I don't think I've ever seen it. I remember a smirk. I don't see her smiling at all. I've always remembered a smirk.
now she's like legit smiling if you look at it
Okay,
now. If you look at
but
it now,
I, oh, bye, Nance. I hope he's okay. Tell him, okay, I'll see you later. Um, if okay, but could it be possible that it's the angle you're looking at? Like if you know the how sometimes like the
yeah,
eyes will fall.
yeah, because she follows you around when you walk around the room, so it could be the angle that you're looking at. It could be. It
Yeah. Good night, Janelle. Janelle's going. Um,
Right, Janelle?
okay, I have a question.
You there?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry, that was interrupted. Uh,
Oh, do you guys hear me? How is Looney Tunes spelled? Do you guys remember?
I
Looney
remember it's
Tunes?
spelled Looney Tunes. I remember it being spelled Luney. I remember it spelled Luney. Tunes.
Okay.
ON.
Okay. What about you guys listening, watching? How do you guys remember Looney Tunes? Lisa, you win a prize, and that prize is the winner of the show.
Doesn't make sense though.
Jimmy, you lose. It is Looneytunes. And it seems like it would be like, why would it be? It's a cartoon. So it seems like it would be Toons.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, it just seems like it would, but it's not. It is Tunes. And there's not a lot of singing in the show. You do not suck, Jimmy. Go look in the mirror and tell yourself how good you are, that you're good enough, that go look in the mirror and say, uh,
The
you was
task.
kind,
Miss
you was
Bell.
smart, you was kind, you was smart, you was important. That's what you say.
Oh, the path is
It,
showing.
yeah. But why would they? I don't know. A lot of people remember Tons, but I don't know. Is that because that's how logically that is Stuart Smalley? When you look in the mirror, when you say, what did they say, Jimmy? Do you remember Stuart? What he said? I can't remember it. Anyway, but I guess it just makes more sense that it would be Toons, but is that, I don't know. Another one was chartreuse. What color is chartreuse? Do you
What?
remember that one? The
I
color chartreuse?
I don't know that one.
Red?
I know who R-Truth is, and he's a wrestler.
No, I don't know wrestling.
I don't know what shark. I don't know. I've never heard of that color.
Yeah. So, I'm trying to think of some other ones that we know. Do you guys know any that we missed? I mean, there's a ridiculous amount. Um,
We did not talk about. Oh, okay, Donald Glover. Okay, I want to
oh yeah.
talk about this because this is a new one. This is a new Mandela effect that I think I may have discovered just recently. Um, I remember Donald Glover being Danny Glover's son. I remember. See, I even have my Martian T-shirt on right now. I'm a big fan of the movie The Martian because, specifically because Donald Glover was in it. Okay. Um, I I remember him on interviews talking about his role in the movie. I remember him talking about his relationship to his father, Danny Glover, and I remember specifically him him just going around Comic Cons actually as well, and I remember seeing posters of promo posters, and if anybody can find these promo posters, I tell you the truth, they're up in New England somewhere, one of those Comic Cons up there, and I remember seeing them as a package deal, as a father and son deal. I specifically remember that. But now he's coming out denying that he has no relationship to Danny Glover whatsoever. And that's mind blowing to me. That's messing with my mind right now talking about it.
I didn't know that. I never knew that he was related. I knew him from Community because I didn't see The Martian. I don't like space. Space scares me.
It's
I
scary.
don't ever want to go in space. I don't like wide open spaces. I don't like, there's a lot of things I don't like, but that's besides the point. So anyway, I knew him from Community, and I didn't find out about that one until you told me about that one. So that's interesting. Another, that just reminded me, Shazam, Kazam,
Oh
the
yeah.
whole,
Oh man, that's another one I
yeah.
refuse. I refuse so much.
He
Like I
was
swear,
not,
yeah,
what was his name?
Sinbad.
Sinbad.
Where I remember Sinbad in that movie. As
Everybody thinks he was,
I,
he
I,
wasn't.
I remember. I'm not going to change my mind about this.
Yeah. And he, I don't know why. I really do think he was in, that must have been an alternate. I don't know. And you know what I think is weird about the Mandela is that, you know, it's not like this is something I think about all the time. It's not like I'm constantly thinking about Sinbad. I rarely ever think about the man. But if somebody were to say, oh yeah, that movie Kazam or whatever, and I'm like, yeah, yeah, he was in that. And in my mind, he was in that movie. And so it's it's just such a weird phenomenon. Like, why does this happen? I don't think The Simpsons did anything about Kazam or Shazam or whatever the hell the movie's name.
So
So
I don't know if we already talked about this, but I just inherently think people are just horrible at detail, and that's the simple explanation to this. It's a simple thing.
I
It's
I think that's part of it, and I think suggestibility is another big part of it. I think there's
yeah.
probably
Do you remember?
multiple.
Do you remember playing that the shark game in high school or school when you're younger? The shark game.
No, what is that?
Well, we called it the shark game. I don't know what y'all might have called it the telephone game.
Oh yeah, yeah, telephone I remember.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Basically, where you just start out with saying something, and you whisper at somebody here, and it moves on, and it's
Hmm.
something else slightly off, and
Right.
and you whisper it again, and it turns into something completely another thing, and then you whisper something else, and then the whole thing is just
It's
complete.
totally,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, it's not what it started out in the beginning. And that's just like, I just think people collectively are really, collectively now, they're not good at remembering things. Okay, say for example, okay, let's look at, all right, let's look at bees, okay? Bees operate in a hive mind. So
Yep.
I'm wondering, I know you know where I'm going with this. I'm wondering if bees have a Mandela effect. and there be community. But I doubt they don't because they work so well together. They work so well together. So I mean, and they're
How
so
would they,
rated. How would
I
they?
think the Mandela effect is a social construct. Hmm. So I don't know. That's a good,
See, I think
yeah, Amanda,
I think
telephone.
every species out there has a different social construct. Like even dolphins. Dolphins have a social construct. They actually use sonar to talk to each other. And they talk to each other in ways that we don't even know. We can't
Yeah.
understand it. It's so far.
Yep.
What if dolphins have their own thing that they do down there, their own social constructs, and it's impossible for them to have Mandela effects because they're far beyond humanity when it comes to communication. We don't
I think
use
they are.
sonar. We don't use sonar. We're still stuck in our vocal cords and our.
Well, I think for the Mandela effect to work, I think it is a, what am I trying to say? Social, not just social. It's not just social, but it's,
A
I don't know,
hive-minded,
like,
a hive-minded. Well,
but it's also pop culture
yeah, culture.
too.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
trending.
pop
You're
culture.
trendy. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And it has, I don't know.
I
I don't
think it's
know.
possible for those species of animals to have Mandela effects because they're hive-minded. So
Yeah.
they
And we
do
are too. We're
get,
hive-minded. And we
but
rely on each other for survival.
but
And that's,
have
yeah,
different. They have higher evolved uh, methods
system.
and system of communication that we don't.
And you bring up a good point. And I'll make this kind of our last point, and you can say, end how you want to end. But um, speaking of hive mind and in the Mandela effect, and this kind of goes back to my psychology aspect, is for people who don't want to engage in conversations like this because they feel stupid or they feel like this is dumb or this is too out of the norm. Um, People who won't do that is because, hey, Gail, we're just finishing up. um, um, so in psychology, if you step out of the norm and you're perceived as too weird or too different, you're out of the hive, you're out of the group, and you won't survive, right? So that's how it used to be in this, the caveman days. You needed that group to
Yeah.
survive, and we still have that, right, Jimmy? It's not, I don't think it's dumb at all. I mean, for people to express their ideas is not dumb. And I never put anybody down for expressing something different because I feel like it's okay to do that. But in our society, if you look at our internet and the internet and what's going on and all the bullies and the trolls and people that purposely put others down for expressing something different, it just kind of breaks my heart because people want to belong. That's who we are as a society. And deep down innately we have an actual survival instinct to belong to the herd. And it goes back to our ancestors that we have to do it to survive or we will die. And we, not necessarily now, but we really do need humans to survive. And so I'm getting very deep with this, but it goes back to it's okay to have these conversations about things that are different. And I hope to do more of this and to
Oh
kind
yeah,
of,
yeah. This worked out really well.
yeah, and I hope other people enjoyed it. Jimmy said, I always thought the homeless population would be the perfect cover for time travelers. I agree, Jimmy. I
You
think
know,
so too.
that's another thing. Another perfect cover for aliens would be Comic Cons.
Oh, yeah. I
They come,
mean, who would know? I mean, who would
hey
know?
Sharon, hey Sharon, we're ending the show, but
Yeah.
that's
Speaking of time travelers, Jimmy, and that this might be, I'm so fascinated by time travel. I'm so fascinated. I was telling Phil, I just read the story, and if you guys want to look it up, the guy's name is Andrew Carlson, Carlisen, something like that. And in 2003, he claimed he came here. Uh, Long story short, he made $350 million in $800 worth of investments. Of course, the SEC and the FBI were like, they took quite an interest in that, and he was arrested on insider trading. Oh, Jimmy, you know this one. Isn't this a great story? He had no ID, no anything from before December of 2002. So they arrest this man, and he says, "Well, I'm from the year 2036." And they're like, "Sure you are. That's a great story." And he's like, "No, really, I am. I came here in a space-time machine." And they're like, "Well, where is it?" And he's like, "I'm not telling you because I don't want you to mess with it." And they're like, "Okay, whatever." So they put him in jail. They book him, or they set a bail for $1 million. Some mysterious man bails him out with $1 million. On his way to his court date, he disappears, never to be seen again. What? Like, huh? I mean, this is such a great story. And it's like, why aren't we like talking about this stuff? And so you go to like a normal average person in the grocery store and you tell somebody this number, like,
You know,
why
I
are you
think
telling me
we
this?
are talking about this stuff, but this stuff is so suppressed that, it's so filtered that it doesn't
Yeah,
get out.
yeah. Hey, Stacy, we're just signing off. I'm so sorry. But Phil, I've talked too much. What do you have to say? What are your final words?
Well, my final words are this was an awesome show. We have to do something like this again and make it a thing because
Yeah.
this turned out to be really fun. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I had a good time. I had a really good time, and I hope you guys did too. I hope you um, had as much fun as we did. And yeah, we had a good time. And thank you so, so much for joining us in our inaugural,
On
whatever this
our
was,
our inaugural first time
Facebook Live
Facebook Living.
chat. Chat. If you have ideas, for Michelle, you're catching us right at the last, sweets. I miss you, by the way. I haven't seen you in forever. If you guys have ideas of some things you'd like to hear, just send us a message, and we'll see you next time.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.